Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In the voice, Alameen, wa salatu wa salam, ala imam al-anbiya wal mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma arna haqqa haqqa wa razaqna tiba'ah, wa arna al-batila batilan wa razaqna shnama. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this another of our sittings. We are still on the Sharh of the Hadith collection of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Bulugh al-Maram, and we are about to explain Hadith number 14. On the authority of Anas ibn Malik, on the authority of Anas ibn Malik, a Bedouin came and started to urinate in one of the corners of the Masjid of the Prophet, and the people ran to beat him. But when the man had finished, the Prophet ordered them to pour a large bucket of water over the urine, and this hadith is agreed upon by Bukhari and Muslim. This hadith, even though you might think it's a short hadith, the ulama extracted many lessons from the hadith. I have over 20 lessons that we shall extract tonight from this hadith. So the person taking those lessons from the above mentioned hadith. Hadith number 14 from Bulugh al-Maram. The first lesson, this hadith shows the eagerness of the Sahabas to command the good and forbid the munkar, the evil. Sahabas, to enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. To command the good and forbid the evil. The Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam told them to leave the man alone. The second lesson, it shows the kind nature of the Prophet, because he stopped the people from beating him. The kind nature of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he stopped the people from beating the man. Now, the other lesson you learn from this hadith, the huge difference in the behavior of the city dwellers and those who live in the village or the desert. The city dwellers are more refined in their mannerism and their characteristic. Those who live in the desert or the village, they are uncouth. The man was a Bedouin. He was in the masjid. He wanted to urinate. He can't be bothered to leave the masjid. So he urinated in the masjid. He can't be bothered to leave. It shows the huge difference in the mannerism of the city dwellers and those who live in the desert. They can be uncouth. Uncouth means they are rough in their mannerism, uncivilized and rough. That's the third lesson you learn. The fourth lesson the scholars derive from the masjid is that when you build a masjid, you should provide adequate toilets for males and females. Whenever you build a masjid, you should provide adequate toilets for males and females to avoid such embarrassments. A person in the masjid. Please send out invites to everyone on your pals list so that they know that the dars has started, because some people are not aware that the dars has started. I have in front of me over 20 lessons that the scholars of Islam derive from the hadith found in Bukhari and Muslim, which I just quote unto you. Tonight's dars might not be short like the previous ones, it might be an hour. The previous ones were about 45 minutes. This hadith, even though it's a short hadith, the scholars derive many lessons. And I will be telling you all the lessons the scholars derive. I won't be hiding any knowledge from you. So maybe tonight's lesson might be an hour. Let's hope it's 45 minutes like the rest. Let's hope it's 45 minutes like the rest, but I suspect it might be an hour. I said to you that the fourth lesson the scholars derived from the hadith I quoted is that you should provide adequate bathroom facilities for males and females to avoid such embarrassments. The fifth lesson is that the wisdom of the Prophet to stop them from beating him. Just a minute. The wisdom of the Prophet to stop them. The wisdom of the Prophet. Listen to the fifth lesson. The wisdom of the Prophet. He didn't allow the Sahabas to stop the man from urinating. The wisdom of the Prophet. He didn't allow the Sahabas to stop the man from urinating in the middle of the act. Had he stopped the man from urinating, it would have affected him physically. His urinary tract would be affected. The wisdom of the Prophet. He didn't allow the Sahabas to stop the man from urinating in the middle of the act, because had he stopped the man from urinating in the middle of the act, it would be a health risk for the man. It would have affected his urinary tract, the urinary tract muscles, the muscles of the urinary tract. So he told the Sahabas, Mahu, leave him alone, leave him alone. That shows the wisdom of the Prophet. Number 6. The wisdom of choosing the lesser of two evils. The Prophet did what? The lesser of two evils. The wisdom of choosing the lesser of two evils. The first evil is to allow the man to finish urinating in the masjid, and the second evil is to stop him in the middle of his urination, which would be a health risk. What's the two evils? The first evil, allow him to finish urinating in the masjid. The second evil is to stop him in the middle of the act. So the Rasul chose the lesser of the two evils. The 7th lesson the scholars derive from this hadith, from Bulugh al-Maram, is the wisdom of keeping the najasa in one spot. The najasa means the filth, the impurity. The wisdom of keeping the najasa in one spot. If the Prophet had allowed the people to beat him up while he was urinating, the urine would have spread all over the masjid, and the man would be screaming, and they would be punching him and doing all the sort of things to him. But when the Prophet allowed the man to finish, the Prophet contained the najasa in one corner of the masjid. And when the najasa is in one corner of the masjid, it is easy to tackle and easy to sort out, easy to rectify. The Prophet undid the damage of the ignoramus by pouring a large bucket of water over his urine. The Prophet undid the damage of the ignoramus by pouring a large bucket of water over his urine. That is number 7, to keep, just a minute. Number 6, choosing the lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils is number 6. Number 7 is to keep the urine in one part of the masjid, because if the Prophet allowed them to beat him up like they wanted to do, he would spread the urine all over the masjid. Number 8, the Prophet undid the damage, or he undid the damage of the ignoramus, the jahil, by pouring a bucket of water over his urine, to teach the ummah that the water is the purifying factor for the urine. Number 9, the jahil raises his hands and say, "Oh Allah." When the Prophet stopped the people from beating him up, the Bedouin means the Arab that lives in the desert, not a city dweller. He raised his hands and said, "Oh Allah, forgive me and Muhammad, and don't forgive anyone else except me and Muhammad." That was his dua. And the Prophet taught him not only fiqh but tawheed, and said, "You have restricted something that is vast, and that is the rahmah of Allah." Okay, shukran for this. Now bring me the hadith where the jahil raised his hand and said, "Oh Allah." The Bedouin raised his hands and said, "Oh Allah, forgive me and Muhammad, and don't forgive anybody else except me and Muhammad." That was his dua, because the Prophet saved him from being beaten up. So the Rasul said to the man, "That dua you made is not appropriate, because you have restricted, you have limited something which is vast, and that is the mercy of Allah. Indeed, you have restricted something which is vast. You have limited something which is vast." Have you found the hadith where he raised his hands? Abu Hurairah narrated that a villager came to the masjid of the Prophet. Okay, you have found it. "Oh Allah, have mercy on me and on Muhammad, and do not have mercy on anyone else beside us." The Prophet turned towards him and said, "You have limited, you have restricted the application of a very large thing, which is the mercy of Allah." So the dua he made was a mistake. You cannot make such a dua. The Prophet told the man it's not appropriate to make such a dua. Some ulama said the reason why the Bedouin decided to urinate in the masjid, he didn't want to miss the halqa. Do you know, some scholars, that's their opinion why he urinated in the masjid. He didn't want to miss 1 minute of the halqa, because they enjoyed the company of the Prophet. If you were with the Prophet and he was given a halqa, would you like to miss 1 minute of the halqa? I'm sure you wouldn't. But I don't think any of you in my room right now would urinate in the masjid of the Prophet. I don't think anybody in this room right now would do something like that. A person who believes that is called uncouth. Uncouth, a person with no manners. The man didn't want to miss the halqa of the Prophet. That's why he decided to urinate in the masjid. He doesn't want any hadith to miss him. I see some of you, you're nick in this room every day. I don't need to call out the nick, you know yourselves. Why you come here every day? Because you don't want one hadith to miss you. But a munafiq, when it comes to Paul talk, he goes to a room where they play music in the room and they gossip and backbite. That's a munafiq. He gravitates towards a room and Paul talk where people backbite and gossip because he has no taqwa. And people like that are banned from this room for life. If we catch you a nick in those rooms, you are banned from this room for life. And we have already banned 100 people. This bedouin didn't want to miss the halqa. So because he didn't want to miss the halqa, he wants to hear all the hadith. He decided, I'm sorry, I can't leave the masjid. I'm going to urinate right here. I don't want any hadith to miss me. That's the opinion of some scholars, why he did what he did. Because the scholars explain why he did what he did. Let's hope you love knowledge like this man who urinated in the masjid of the Prophet. Let's hope you love knowledge like him. You don't want to miss one halqa or miss one hadith. The 11th lesson derived from this is that when people come to the masjid, you need to watch them. Okay? That's the 11th lesson. When you find like a strange face come to the masjid, you need to watch them. What if they go into the toilet of the masjid and plant a bomb? You need to watch them. If a person is working for the MI5, the MI6, the FBI, the CIA, when he makes wudu, he washes the left hand first. He can't make wudu because he's a spy. You need to be vigilant. That's the lesson the scholars derive. You need to be vigilant. Don't be like the ostrich who dips his head in the sand and said everything is hunky-dory, everything is fine. There are no problems in the world. When people come to the masjid, you need to watch them. You are living in dangerous times. You are living in the end of times. In Central Mosque in London, 2 skinheads went and beat up the Imam and dug out his eye. The Imam was from Egypt. Have you seen the film Lion of the Desert? Who starred in the film Lion of the Desert? Anthony Quinn. Do you remember that film? Lion of the Desert, starring Anthony Quinn. When Anthony Quinn made wudu, he washed the left hand first. Did you realize that? 2 skinheads went to the masjid, pretend to be Muslims, beat up the Imam and dug out his eye. Why is it that the Sahabas rushed to beat the man when he started to urinate? Because they were watching him. They were vigilant. He went to a corner of the masjid. Not in the middle of the masjid, a corner. Why they rushed to beat him? Because they were watching him. The Sahabas were vigilant. And there were no bombs in those days for people to left bombs in the masjid. So as a believer, you have to be vigilant. The Rasul said a believer is qayyis fatin. A believer is shrewd, sharp, and careful. Do you know the hadith? I'm sure you know the hadith. A believer is what? Shrewd, sharp, and careful. Why you are careful? Because you are vigilant. Why you are careful? Because you pay attention to fiqh al-waqi'. That's why you are careful. A believer is careful. Shrewd, sharp, and careful. And when the Prophet said shrewd, the Prophet meant you are not bitten in the same hole twice. A believer is not bitten in the same hole twice because you are shrewd. Anyway, we continue the dars. The 12th lesson the scholars derive from this hadith is: it's possible that when you enjoin the right and forbid the wrong, you go about it in the wrong way. It's quite possible that as you enjoin the right and forbid the wrong, you go about it in the wrong way. That's quite possible. And you do more damage than good. So when these people, it's possible when you enjoin the right and forbid the wrong, you go about it in the wrong way. Yes. Because when they jump up to beat the man who was urinating in the masjid, if the Prophet didn't stop them, the man would splash the urine all over the masjid. And he'll be screaming and shouting and splashing his urine all over the masjid. But when the Rasul said, Mahu, leave him, let him finish, the Prophet contained the najasa in one part, one section of the masjid, so the urine was not spread all over the masjid. So the scholars of fiqh, when they studied this hadith, one of the lessons they derived is, many times, sometimes, you think you are enjoining the right and forbidding the wrong, but the method you used was the wrong method, so you did more damage than good. For example, some people in Trinidad, they did a coup, I think 1990. But the coup they did, it did more damage than good. And they said they were enjoining the right and forbidding the wrong. They brought hell to the lives of Muslims in Trinidad. The coup was a mistake. The coup in Trinidad by Yasin Abu Bakr did more damage than good. So sometimes you think you are enjoying the right and forbidding the wrong, but the method you used was wrong, so you did more damage than good. The 13th lesson, the Arabs of the desert in the Arabian Peninsula were uncivilized. The desert Arabs in the Arabian Peninsula were uncivilized before Islam, and those days are called the days of Jahiliyyah. The desert Arabs before the advent of Islam were uncivilized, because for you to urinate in a masjid, that means you're uncivilized. Umar said, Kunna qawman adilla wa azazna Allah bil Islam. We the Arabs were without any honor, no dignity, no honor, and Allah gave us honor with Islam. Did you know they used to make tawaf around the Kaaba naked, men and women? Did you know that? And if they have a camel and the camel got sick and died, they would eat the camel and say, Allah kill it for us. Allah kill it for us. Can you believe it? They were uncivilized. That's why Umar said, we the Arabs, we had no dignity, no honor, and Allah gave us honor with Islam. And then Umar said, if somebody tried to get honor from a source other than Islam, that person shall be disgraced in the land. Where is the hadith I quoted? Kunna qawman adilla wa azazna Allah bil Islam. It's not really a hadith, it's called an athar, the sayings of the Sahabas. Okay, shukran for finding the hadith or the athar. That book, the Mustadrak of Al-Hakim, was one of my favorite books in university, because his hadiths are not in English, not in Bukhari or Muslim. The Mustadrak of Al-Hakim, that's one of my favorite books in the university. I used to disappear in the library and translate many hadiths. And then a Shaykh warned me, Faisal, that book has 50 fabricated hadith. So I had to double check with my Shaykhs if this hadith is sahih or fabricated. Because when Al-Hakim quotes a hadith, he doesn't tell you if the hadith is sahih or fabricated or weak. You have to double check with your Shaykhs who have PhD in hadith to see if the hadith is sahih. So any man whose books become his Shaykh, the shaitan is his Shaykh. I repeat, any man whose books become his Shaykh, the shaitan is his Shaykh. Because some books have fabricated hadith in it and you don't know it's fabricated, you need a Shaykh to tell you if the hadith is sahih, da'if or fabricated. The 14th lesson we learned from this: humans have a natural revulsion for urine. Humans have a natural revulsion for urine. So any man who doesn't have a natural revulsion for urine, that man is possessed by the jinn. That's a symptom that the person is possessed by the jinn. The Hindus, they drink their own urine, claiming that all the nutrients they need to live a healthy life can be found in their urine. Hindus, they drink urine, their own urine, claiming that all the nutrients that they need to sustain life can be found in their urine. They drink their own urine. The humans have a natural revulsion for urine because urine is toxic. It's called human waste, like feces. The 15th lesson we learned from this hadith is that it is compulsory on us to keep the masjid clean and to keep bad smells away from the masjid. The Rasul said, At-tuhur shatrul iman. In Surah Baqarah 125, one of the promises that Abraham and Ismail made to Allah in Baqarah 125, أن طهر بيتي للطائفين والعاكفين والركع السجود. That you, Abraham and Ismail, will keep my house pure, the Kaaba, for those who are circumambulating it and staying in it for itikaf. So this is one of the promises that Abraham and his son Ismail made to Allah, to keep the masjid pure. A black woman, bring me the hadith about the black woman. A black woman used to sweep out the masjid of the Prophet, and the Prophet loved her, and she became sick and died, and the Sahabas buried her without informing the Prophet. They said to the Prophet, we didn't want to wake you up to tell you she died at night. And the Prophet said, show me her grave. And then the Prophet went and prayed janazah over her while her body was inside the grave. He said, these graves are filled with darkness, and when I pray over the people in the grave, it is an illumination, it brings light for them. So the scholar said that this black woman was honored by the Prophet because she kept the house of Allah clean. That's why she was honored by the Rasul. Why? Because she kept the house of Allah clean. And then the scholars quoted Baqarah 125 that one of the pledges that Allah took from Abraham and his son Ismail is to keep the house of Allah clean. Baqarah 125. أن طهر بيتي للطائفين والعاكفين والركع السجود. You, Abraham, and your son Ismail will keep the house of Allah clean, for people who go there to pray and to do itikaf. The 16th lesson we learned is that the Rasul was a patient teacher. The Prophet was a merciful and patient teacher. Yeah, the Prophet said you should keep the masjids clean and perfume the masjid. And the Prophet said, when you eat onion and garlic, don't come to the masjid with that mouth. Leak 3 things: onion, garlic, and leek. When you eat onion, garlic, and leek, bring me the point after 16. When you eat onion, garlic, and leek, don't come to the masjid with that mouth, because the masjid is supposed to have sweet smells. The angels don't like bad smell. So how can you have the smell of urine in the masjid of the Prophet? Urine, the smell of urine is a foul smell. The Rasul said, when you eat onion, garlic, and leek, don't come to the masjid with that bad breath, because you offend the angels. And the angels who are supposed to attend the masjid, angels come to the masjid to listen to the dhikr and to listen to the khutbah. You chase the angels away with your bad breath. Okay, bring me point number 16. After this hadith, the Rasul was a merciful and patient teacher. Because he said to the man, after the man urinated in the masjid, he said, my brother, the houses of Allah, the masajid, were not built for these things, to urinate inside of them. They were built for dhikr Allah. Surah 24 verse 36. He said, my brother, the houses of Allah were not built for these things to urinate inside of it. They were built for dhikr Allah, the remembrance of Allah. Okay, you brought the hadith found in Muslim. He called him and said to him, these mosques are not for places meant for urine and filth, but are for dhikr Allah, the remembrance of Allah. Okay, shukran for the hadith found in Muslim. So the Rasul was patient with the man. He said, my brother, he called him over and said, the masjids were not built to urinate inside of it and to leave filth inside of it. They were built for dhikr Allah. The Rasul was a very patient teacher and a merciful teacher. And because of that, Allah said in Surah 21, 107, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We didn't send you Muhammad except as a mercy for mankind. In houses, mosques, which Allah has ordered to be raised, to be cleaned, and to be honored, in them His name is glorified in the morning and in the evening. Allah's name is glorified in the masjid, in morning and evening. Surah Nur verse 36. That's the purpose of the masjid, not to urinate inside of them. Why did Rasul stop the people from beating the man? Because he was a mercy for mankind. Allah said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We didn't send you Muhammad except as a mercy for mankind. Even when the Sahabas disobeyed him at the Battle of Uhud, he was merciful when he was correcting the Sahabas. Allah was impressed with the character of the Prophet when he was correcting the Sahabas when they disobeyed him at the Battle of Uhud. Allah revealed Surah 3, 159, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. It is by the mercy of Allah, O Muhammad, it was by Allah's mercy, O Muhammad, that you were kind and gentle when you were correcting your Sahaba. If you were harsh-hearted when you were correcting them, O Muhammad, they would have broken away from you. They won't be your companions anymore. Surah 3, 159. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. It was by Allah's mercy, O Muhammad, that you were kind and gentle when you were correcting your Sahabas. So even though they disobeyed him and caused the death of 70 Sahabas, he was kind and gentle when he was correcting his Sahabas. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. So the 15th lesson we learn is that it is compulsory on us to keep the masjid clean. The 16th lesson, the Prophet was a very merciful and patient teacher. The 17th lesson, it is haram to make a dua and exclude the rest of the ummah. That's the 17th lesson. Because the Rasul said to the man, hajarta. You have restricted something which is hajarta ma wasi'a. You have restricted something which is wasi'a. It is haram to make a dua and exclude the rest of the Muslims. Like what this man did. Because the Prophet stopped the people from beating him up after he urinated in the masjid, he raised his hands to the skies and said, Oh Allah, forgive me and Muhammad, and don't forgive anybody else except me and Muhammad. And the Rasul said that dua is not permissible in Islam. You have restricted something which is vast. The 18th lesson you learn is that it is very difficult to get along with Jahil people. It's very difficult to tolerate the behavior of Jahil people. It's very, very difficult to tolerate the behavior of the Jahil. Their behavior is repugnant. It should be point 17. Point 17 is not allowed to make a dua and restrict. No, the brother is doing it properly. Don't worry, it's proper. The point 17, according to my notes, it's haram to make a dua and restrict the dua and exclude the ummah, like what the Bedouin did. The Rasul told him it's haram to pray like that, to make a dua like that. Sometimes your dua is not answered because your dua is a haram dua. Sometimes your dua is not answered because you eat haram food or drink haram drink. The numbering is fine, don't worry, it's fine. The 18th point is, it is very, very difficult to get along with people who are jahil because their character is obnoxious and repugnant and repellent. And because of that, when it is difficult to tolerate the jahil, to get along with the jahil, These people, they're always being divorced. They get divorced. Sometimes they get divorced 10 times. The character of a jahil is very, very untenable. That's the word for the jahil. His character is untenable, repugnant, repellent. This man was a jahil. He's called an ignoramus. He came and urinated in the masjid of the Prophet because he can't be bothered to leave the masjid to go and urinate outside. I'm sorry, I can't be bothered. I'm going to do it right here. And because the character of a jahil is repugnant, repellent, obnoxious, atrocious, in Baqarah 67, Prophet Musa said what? A'udhu billah an akun min al-jahilin. I seek refuge in Allah from being a jahil. Prophet Musa said that. Baqarah 67. A'udhu billah. I seek refuge in Allah from being a jahil. When you are in the company of a jahil, it is suffocating. You want to leave his company. He speaks racism and kufr, shirk and zandaka and hypocrisy, heresy, lying and bragging and boasting. The company of a jahil is excruciating. It's suffocating. Even Prophet Musa, what did he say? A'udhu billah. I seek refuge in Allah. A'udhu billah an akur min al-jahilin. I seek refuge in Allah from being among the ignoramus, the jahil. His company is obnoxious. Very, very evil company. So this man who came and urinated in the masjid of the Prophet was a jahil. All the scholars in the fiqh books, when they explained the hadith, they said he was a jahil, an ignoramus. وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض حونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. The righteous servants of Ar-Rahman, they walk on the earth in a humble manner. Surah 25 verse 63. The righteous servants of Ar-Rahman, they walk on the earth in a humble manner. And when the Jahilun address them, they say salam and leave them alone. Imam Shafi debated with 100 scholars and he defeated them. Imam Shafi debated with 100 scholars and he defeated them in the debate. Imam Shafi debated with one Jahil and the Jahil defeated Imam Shafi. You know why? Every time Imam Shafi opened his mouth to make a point, he said, "Oh, oh," and he didn't allow Imam Shafi to finish his sentence. Did you hear what I just said? Imam Shafi debated with 100 scholars and he defeated the scholars in the debate. Imam Shafi debated with one Jahil and the Jahil defeated Imam Shafi. Because every time Imam Shafi opened his mouth to make a point, the Jahil said, "Oh, oh." He started to scream and shout and didn't allow Imam Shafi to finish his point. The 90th lesson you learn from this hadith is you need sabr to mold the revert. That's the 19th point. You need sabr to mold a revert. And reverts don't know about bathroom etiquettes. Reverts, they don't know about bathroom etiquettes. When you give shahada to a revert, male or female, you have to teach them about istinja and these things. This man was a revert. All the sahabas were reverts. Even Abu Bakr and Omar were reverts. Abu Bakr and Omar were reverts. Every single sahaba was a revert. But the tabi'een and the tabi'een, they were born Muslims. Every single sahaba was a revert. You need sabr to mold a revert. Because they are coming out of Jahiliyyah with baggage. Baggage on top of baggage. So because of that, it's better for a revert to marry a born Muslim. To marry a born Muslim. Not another revert. A revert marrying a revert. It doesn't look good. You need a born Muslim to teach the revert. To help him in his deed. Not a revert getting married to another revert. Because this hadith of the Rasul said what? You need sabr to mold a revert. The 20th lesson is that water is used to purify the earth when urine is spilled on the earth. The 20th lesson. Water is used to purify the earth if urine is spilled on the earth. That's the 20th lesson. But if it's a hard surface, you need sponge to absorb the urine or a towel or a rag. The 20th lesson. Water is used to purify the earth if urine is spilled on the earth. However, if it is a hard surface like tile, like concrete or tile, you need sponge or a towel to absorb the urine. And after you use the sponge, then you wash it with water to get rid of the smell. Water is used to purify the earth if it is spilled on the earth. If it's a hard surface like concrete or tile, you need sponge to do this. Then you wash it with water to get rid of the smell. So after you use sponge to absorb the urine, then you wash it with water. Now, the person taking notes, an important point. The Jamhur means the majority, believe that to pour water on the earth over the urine is sufficient. The Jamhur believe that to pour water on the earth is sufficient. Abu Hanifa said, no. Abu Hanifa said, I beg to differ. You need to pour water on the earth, then you have to scrape the earth out and throw the earth away and replace the earth with fresh earth in order for us to get rid of the smell of urine from the house of Allah. The majority believe that to pour water on the urine on the earth is sufficient to purify it. Yes. Abu Hanifa said, no. I beg to differ. The Hanafis said, I don't agree with that. We don't agree with that. You need to pour water on it. Then you need to scrape the earth out and throw it away and replace that section of the masjid with fresh earth, clean earth. You have to scrape the earth afterwards. So the Jamhur said, as long as you pour water over the urine, you can leave it in the masjid like that. Abu Hanifa said, no, that's not the case. You have it wrong. Your fiqh is wrong. You need to scrape the earth out because urine was on the earth. You pour the water over the urine on the earth. Then you scrape the earth out and throw it away and bring fresh earth to replace that earth. Only then you can consider the house of Allah fit. Only then the house of Allah is clean. The correct opinion is Abu Hanifa, if it is the masjid. If it is not the masjid, not the house of Allah, then you don't have to scrape the earth out. I repeat, the correct opinion is Abu Hanifa. If it is outside the masjid, you can leave it without scraping it away. If it is inside the masjid, it's better to scrape the earth out and put fresh earth to avoid the smell. However, the Hanbalis will tell you the Jamhur is more accurate. Abu Hanifa's opinion is better because it's more hygienic for the masjid. The reason why Abu Hanifa's opinion is more accurate, so that there is no smell of urine in the masjid. The majority of medics believe that urine can be harmful and dangerous. Okay, the person taking notes, the next chapter, facts about urine. The person taking notes, facts about urine. The majority of medics, facts about urine. The majority of medics, facts about urine. The majority of medics believe that urine can be harmful and dangerous for the human being when used internally. The majority of medics believe that urine can be harmful and dangerous for the human being when used internally, especially the urine of humans. The urine of humans is dangerous, i.e. the urine of humans. People who drink their own urine always complain about chronic nausea. Those who drink their own urine, like the Hindus of India, they always complain about chronic nausea. They complain about diarrhea. They complain about diarrhea. They complain about gastrointestinal ailments. They complain about diarrhea, chronic nausea, gastrointestinal ailments. Those who drink their own urine, like the Hindus of India. Such patients are usually hospitalized because urine is toxic. Urine is a reject from the body. It is called human waste. Like feces is human waste. It is called human waste. It's a reject from the body. The Russians believe someone has to be hospitalized because urine is toxic. It's a toxic. The kidney filters the urine, filters the blood, filters the toxic from the body and pass it down as urine. That's the job of the kidney. The kidney is a filter. The Russians believe if a man is impotent and he drinks the urine of pregnant females, he'll be cured of his impotence. This man is impotent, can't have an erection. The Russians believe that if he should drink the urine of pregnant females, he'll be cured of his impotence. So expect a lot of old European men to drink the urine of pregnant females, hoping to cure themselves of impotence. There is no proof in the medical field that the theory of the Russians is valid. Drinking urine causes cholera. Drinking urine of humans, drinking the urine of human beings causes cholera, a fatal disease, because urine is toxic. The only cure for those who were hospitalized for drinking their own urine is to stop drinking their own urine. That's the only cure. Urination is the primary method of excreting toxins, chemicals, and drugs from the body. Urination is the primary method of excreting toxins, chemicals, and drugs from the body. Your urine says everything about you. If you smoke marijuana, ganja, it's in the urine. Your urine says everything about you. If you go to the Olympics and you take steroids, you're going to fail the urine test. The urine says everything about you. Therefore, it's insanity for someone to drink his own urine or to drink the urine of another human being. It is insanity for someone to drink his own urine, like the Hindus, or to drink the urine of another human being. Okay, the next chapter, urinotherapy. The person taking notes, the next chapter is urinotherapy, and that is to cure people with the urine of camels. We have authentic hadith found in both Bukhari and Muslim that the Prophet cured people with the urine of camels. Because some people, so even though urine is a toxic, the exception to the rule is the urine of the camels. Some people came to Medina and got sick, and the Prophet sent them to be cured by drinking the milk and urine of the camels. They got cured, and they got ungrateful, and they killed the owner of the camels, and the Prophet sent for them and killed them. So there are universities all over the Muslim world where they study the urine of the camel, and they found out that it has cured many ailments. To cure a person with the urine of the camel is called urinotherapy. Therapy means a cure, a treatment. The camel urine has a high level of potassium and protein. These are the evidences of camel urine used by the Prophet to cure people of their ailment. The camel urine has a high level of potassium and protein. Camel urine is used to treat dropsy. Camel urine is used to treat dropsy because of its high level of potassium and protein. Camel urine is used to treat liver failure. It's used to treat dropsy and pain in the liver, blood clot. These are modern day scientific discoveries that coincides with the hadith of the Prophet, where the Prophet treated some sick people in Medina with camel urine. Pain in the liver as well as blood clot, C-L-O-T. The last chapter before we take questions. The urine and dung of the pure animals. That's the last chapter before we close the dots. When the scholars say pure animals, Shaykh, how do you use the camel urine on hairs? You mean as urine is diluted? You can use the camel urine on your hair for the hair to grow. The people use camel urine for their hair to grow, and you can pray in that. If you rub camel urine on your body, you can pray in that state. That's why the last chapter is the urine and dung of the pure animal. That's the last chapter. Now, what the scholars meant when they say the tahir animals, animals that are halal for us to eat. There is no difference of opinion among the scholars that the dung and the urine of the pure animals, meaning animals that are halal for us to eat, are pure. Because when the Sahabas approached the Prophet and said, can we pray in the sheep pen? The Prophet allowed them. The Prophet told them it is halal to pray in the sheep pen. Why the Prophet allowed them to pray in the sheep pen? Because the urine and the dung of the pure animals is considered tahir, pure. Could you bring the hadith about the Prophet allowing the Sahabas to pray in the sheep pen? It's called the Hujjah. In this room, we speak with Hujjah. On the authority of Bara ibn Azib, that the Messenger of Allah was asked about praying in the camel's pen, he replied, no, do not pray in camel's pen. The hadith I want is about sheep's pen. On the authority of Abdallah ibn Mughaffal, the Messenger of Allah said, perform prayer in the sheep's pen, the sheep's resting place, and do not perform prayers in the camel's resting place, for they are created from the jinn, the demons, the devils. Yes, so because the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed the Sahabas to pray in the sheep pen, the scholars agree among themselves that the urine and the dung of animals that are pure, the pure animals, is considered pure. Therefore, if a sheep or a goat should urinate on your trousers, or you rub the urine of the camel on your head for your hair to grow. People use it to grow their hair. Women who have short hair, how do they make their hair grow long? By rubbing the camel urine on their hair. That is a treatment for short hair, because the camel urine is rich in protein and potassium. So a Muslim woman who rubs the camel urine on her hair, or a man because he's bald, he is allowed to pray in that state, and the salah is valid, because all the scholars of Islam agree unanimously among themselves that the dung and the urine of the pure animals is considered pure. That is the hukum. Potassium and protein, I said, potassium and protein. The camel urine is rich in potassium and protein. Then the scholars say, if the urine of the pure animal wasn't pure, why did the Prophet tell the people, go to the people who have camels, drink the camel urine, because the cure for your disease can be found in the camel urine. The scholars say if the camel urine was impure, the Prophet would never prescribe it as a medicine. What the scholars say, if the camel urine was impure, the Prophet would never prescribe it as a medicine for the people who got ill. Okay, listen to Al-Mughni. Al-Mughni is what? A Hanbali book. Ibn Qudama said the urine and feces of animals whose flesh may be eaten is tahir, pure. Malik said the scholars do not regard the urine of animals whose meat is eaten and whose milk is drunk as najis. Najis means impure. Ibn Mundir said everyone from whom we acquired knowledge among the scholars is unanimous, ijma, agreed that it is permissible to pray in sheep's pen apart from the Shafi, who stipulated that it should be cleaned out from dung and urine. The only Imam Shafi differed on this matter. It says in Fatawa Lajna. Fatawa Lajna is a book compiled of fatwas, contemporary fatwas. It says in Fatawa Lajna ad-Da'ima, the urine of animals whose meat may be eaten is tahir, and it is used on the body for some. If it is used on the body for some purpose, there is nothing wrong with praying in that state. I hope that is clear. That is the fatwa of the scholars past and present. The urine and the dung of the animals that we eat is considered tahir, pure. So if you rub the urine of the camel on your body because you have some skin problem, you can pray in that state with the urine on your body because the urine of animals that we eat is considered pure. Ibn Qudama said, but if these birds that you eat, if these birds are a type whose flesh may be eaten, such as birds that have talons and falcons, then their feces is najis. So the feces of birds of prey is najis. The feces of birds that we eat is not najis. So take for example, you pray in a particular spot and there was some bird feces there, the salah is accepted. If it is the birds of pigeon, for example the dove, their feces, if it should fall on your trousers and you did not realize it, and you pray in that trousers, your salah is accepted because the pigeon is considered pure and the feces is pure. If it is the feces of the eagle or the falcon that fell on you, then your clothing is impure, you cannot pray in that state. I hope that is clear. That is the hukum in regards to the urine of animals that we eat. I'll stop here for today and take 5 questions in regards to the dars you've just heard. You 75 nicks in the room. I did not realize you love fiqh so much. I thought you'd like to hear takfir. You surprised me. I did not realize you like fiqh so much. It was the admins who asked me to do fiqh. 85, 87. Okay, I'm taking 5 questions in regards to the dars you've just listened to. In this room, we follow the books of the classical scholars. Al-Mughni is one of the best fiqh book ever written. Al-Mughni by Ibn Qudama is one of the best fiqh book ever written. In this room, we don't give our own opinions. We speak with Quran and Sunnah and the writings of the classical scholars. We don't give our own opinions in this room. We are not self-opinionated. Assalamu alaikum. Can any camel urine be used or just the sadaqah camels only? And any camel urine can be used because the Prophet sent the person in the desert to go and search for the people who have camel and use their milk and their urine to cure his sickness. And they got cured and they became healthy. But they became ungrateful and killed the owner of the camels. And the Rasul hunted them down and killed them and dug out their eyes. The men who killed the camel herd, the Rasul hunted them down and killed them because they were ungrateful. After they got cured and healthy, they killed the owner of the camel and the Rasul took revenge against them. How can you be so ungrateful? You were cured and then when you became healthy and strong, you killed the person who cured. A'udhu billah. Anyway, I'm taking 5 questions. Where are the others? Assalamu alaikum. Somebody's saying, where's the hujjah to say you say Ameen aloud? 85 bring the hadith. The sunnah is to say Ameen aloud, not to whisper the Ameen like the Hanafis do, they whisper it. The sunnah is to say Ameen aloud because the Sahabas used to say Ameen aloud as if to say the roof of the masjid would lift. And the Jews used to envy the Muslims for Ameen. Did you know that? The Jews of Medina used to envy the Muslims when the Muslims say Ameen after hearing Surah Fatiha being recited by the Prophet. Imam Bukhari in his Sahih, in the chapter, the Imam saying Ameen aloud. Atta said Ameen is a supplication, it's a dua. Ibn Azubair and those behind him used to say Ameen until the mosque reverberated. Reverberated means they could hear the echo. It was so loud, the mosque would echo. Abu Hurairah used to call out to the Imam, do not let me miss the Ameen. Nafi said Ibn Umar did not neglect to say it and encourage other people to. I heard him say good things about it. Okay, you asked for the hujjah, that's the hujjah, copy and paste it. You say you are debating with the Hanafi, copy and paste, it's in Bukhari. The Hanafis, they whisper their Ameen. The right thing is to say it loud because the Prophet, Sahabas used to say it so loud, you could hear the reverberating sound. Reverberating sound means an echoing sound. So the correct opinion is to say Ameen aloud. But the Hanafis, they are so rigid in their school of thought they prefer to follow their madhab and reject the hadith. A Hanafi is so rigid in following his school of thought, he prefers to reject the hadith of Bukhari and follow his madhab. But Abu Hanifa used to say, إِذَا صَحَّ الْحَدِيث فَهُوَ مَذْهَبِي. If the hadith is sahih, that's my madhab. Abu Hanifa said what? If the hadith is sahih, that is my madhab. Okay, the admins brought you many hadiths to say the right thing is to say Ameen with a loud voice. Many hadiths were brought to you. Copy and paste it and go and debate with those who say Ameen should be said in a quiet voice. If your Ameen coincides with the Ameen of the angels, all your sins are forgiven. So the admins, you asked for one hujjah, they brought you many hujjah. Many hujjah about saying Ameen aloud. Copy and paste and go and debate with those who say you should whisper the Ameen. The correct opinion is to say Ameen aloud after the Imam recites Surah Fatih. Okay, I'm taking 5 questions. Where are the others? Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. What do you say about a brother who wants to do polygamy but he is receiving government benefits? A sister's husband has 2 wives and now he's trying to marry a 3rd sister who lives in a foreign country. He's barely getting by with 2 wives and now he's angry with the 2nd wife because she won't accept him marrying a 3rd wife because he lost his job. This brother needs to slow down a bit. His testosterone is too high, and you can't be going out and marrying 2-3 wives and you have no job. You have to think with your head and not your genitalia. This brother needs to think with his head and not his genitalia. He has lost his job and you need to settle down. How can you take care of 3 wives when you have no job? First of all, the 3rd wife you're going to bring to the country, they won't give her a visa because you have no job. David Cameron brought out a new law. If you don't earn £20,000, you can't bring anybody to the UK. If you don't earn £20,000, you can't bring anyone to the UK. So you need to think with your head and not your genitalia. You are not in a position to take on a 3rd wife. Next question, please. Assalamu Shaykh, can you hold a mushaf and pray tahajjud in order to read longer while standing? Also, if your eyes open randomly at odd hours of the night, should you consider this as time to get up and pray, even if it is 1 rak'ah? If you pray 1 rak'ah, that's called witr, and Muawiyah used to do that. Muawiyah used to pray 1 rak'ah of witr. And somebody complained to the Prophet, and the Prophet said, leave him alone because he is a faqih, a scholar of fiqh. Muawiyah is a faqih. You're allowed to pray tahajjud and read from the mushaf. This is Hanbali fiqh, but the Hanafis don't allow it. You have to read from your aql, from your brain, from your heart. So the Hanbalis allow it, and even the Malikis allow it to read from the mushaf for tahajjud. There is no evidence to say it is haram to do so. The Hanbalis allow it and the Malik, but Abu Hanifa doesn't allow it. You have to read from your heart. You can't read from the mushaf when you pray tahajjud. The correct opinion is the Hanbali opinion. The correct view is the Hanbali view. Next question, please. Okay, tell them the correct view is the Hanbali view. Abu Hanifa doesn't allow it, but Imam Ahmad allows to read from the mushaf when you are praying salah. The correct opinion is the Hanbali opinion. If we make wudu after eating the meat, so wouldn't we need to make wudu if the urine or dung of the camel is on one's person? Yeah, if you eat camel meat, your wudu is broken. But if you rub the urine on your head, for example, to grow your hair, like the Arab women do who have short hair, they rub camel urine because it is rich in potassium and protein. You are using aql. We have no evidence to say that it breaks wudu. We have no evidence to say that to rub the camel urine on your skin because you have a skin ailment, for example, it breaks wudu. To eat the camel meat, that is internal usage. To rub the urine on your skin is external. Therefore, don't compare internal usage to external usage because the qiyas is different. And Ahmad ibn Hanbal said most mistakes are made with the wrong qiyas. What did Ahmad say? Most mistakes are made with the wrong qiyas. I'm taking 5 questions. Where are the others? The qiyas is wrong, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal said most mistakes are made with wrong qiyas. And the shaitan made that mistake. He did qiyas. He compared fire to clay and said fire is better than clay, so I won't bow down to Adam. He used qiyas and refused to bow down to Adam. So the first person to make mistake with qiyas was shaitan. He compared fire to clay and said I was made from fire and Adam from clay, so I'm better. But his qiyas was wrong. It's the other way around. Adam is better than him. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. A couple lectures ago you said do not engage in worthless talk. Is it allowed to discuss and refute kuffar, murtaddeen, munafiqeen on internet forum or on YouTube for the sake of exposing them when they try to mislead others by spreading lies about Islam? I also asked this question because of the verse, do not sit with those who are mocking the deen. You are allowed to debate with these people you spoke about, kuffar, murtaddeen and munafiqeen. You are allowed to debate with them. What's the evidence? When the Khawarij emerged and they were killing the Muslims and they were leaving alone the kuffar, Ali sent Ibn Abbas to debate with them and he checkmated them on 3 occasions on all counts, and 12,000 came back to the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So Ali sent Ibn Abbas to debate with the Khawarij, and many came back to the right Aqidah. So you're allowed to debate with all these people that you mentioned, to expose them and disgrace them in front of others that they are liars. But when you go in their rooms, they're going to dot you and bounce you, because nobody likes to be exposed. People like to pretend to be what they are not. So if you go to their rooms and Paltalk to debate with them, they're going to dot you and bounce you, because no one likes to be exposed. People like to pretend to be the opposite of what they are. The Christians claim to follow Jesus, but they walk around with an uncircumcised penis and they eat pork. The Hanafis say we follow Abu Hanifa, but they say Allah is everywhere. Abu Hanifa didn't believe that. Allah is everywhere. A'udhu billah. That means Allah is in a pigsty. Is that what you are saying? Allah is everywhere. Allah is in a pigsty. A'udhu billah. The Saudi Salafis claim to follow Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Kathir. It's a big lie, because they are in bed with the Taghut. Ibn Kathir and Ibn Taymiyyah rejected the Taghut and fought the Taghut. Ibn Taymiyyah rejected the Taghut and fought the Taghut, and Ibn Taymiyyah said it is known of Islam by necessity that whosoever dismantles the Sharia is a kafir. Salafis don't have this aqid, so they don't follow Ibn Taymiyyah. It's a big lie. People in life like to pretend to be the opposite of what they are. They are con artists. If you go to their rooms to debate with them, they're going to dot you and bounce you, because nobody likes to be exposed. People like to pretend to be the opposite of what they claim to be. If you don't believe me, try and debate with them in their rooms. They will dot you and bounce, because no one likes to be exposed. Why do you think people like Malcolm X killed, Martin Luther King killed, how many other civilized leaders killed, Alexander Litvinenko, the Russian KGB officer, killed? Because nobody likes to be exposed. Malcolm X killed. He came back from Mecca and exposed Elijah Poe that he's a fraud, preaching his rubbish. The white man is the devil. Every white man is the devil. You generalize and call a whole race the devil. The white kafir is the devil, but the black kafir, isn't he the devil as well? What about the Hindus who drink their own urine? Aren't they the devil as well? So Malcolm X was killed because nobody likes to be exposed. Alexander Litvinenko exposed Vladimir Putin. Putin planted bombs in the apartments of Moscow and blamed the Muslims of Chechnya to invade Chechnya, to kill the Muslims and to steal Muslim oil. Alexander Litvinenko was killed. He wrote a book, Blowing Up Russia, to expose the KGB as evil, murderers, kill their own people and blame the Muslims, to go to Chechnya to kill Muslims and steal Muslim oil. When he wrote the book, Blowing Up Russia, that was the last book he wrote. They made sure he couldn't write any more books, because he was planning to write many more books to expose the KGB of Russia. KGB is the CIA of Russia. That was the last book he wrote. They killed him, because nobody likes to be exposed. In life, people like to pretend to be the opposite of what they are. A woman killed her son in the UK. Am I on mic? Can you hear me? A woman killed her son in the UK because he didn't memorize the Quran, and now she's in jail. I'm sure she's Pakistani or Bengali or Indian. They're the ones who scream at their kids when they don't memorize the Quran. A woman killed her son in the UK because he didn't memorize the Quran. Subhanallah. The fiqh al-waq in the UK. If people keep me in touch with the fiqh al-waq. I think I've exhausted all the questions. The Hafiz will intercede for 10 members of his family. That's why everybody wants to have a Hafiz in their family, because the Hafiz will intercede for 10 members of the family. But killing your son is not the answer. And now the Jewish press, the Zionist press, are having a field day. It's front page in all the Jewish newspapers. A Muslim woman killed her son because he didn't memorize the Quran. They're having a field day. That's why I told you, if you implement Sharia in the UK and you stone a gay to death, oh, they'll be very happy. They'll be very happy if you stone a gay to death in the UK. It will sell their papers. All the newspapers will sell out. That's what they want. All the newspapers will sell out. That's what they want. Such things sell their papers. Anyway, that was the last question. We'll continue with Bulugh al-Maram and continue to invite your families and friends. I didn't expect you to like fiqh so much. I'd like to thank Authentic 25 for recording the dars and for bringing the hujjah of the hadith and the classical scholars. I'd like to thank Authentic 38 and 7 for the note. I'd like to thank Authentic 23 for conducting the question and session. I'd like to thank Authentic 12 for soliciting donations towards our dawah effort. Please donate generously towards the dawah effort. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.